Here to make some sense of all of this is Steve Bronner, columnist for Stevens Media and a contributor to Talk Business. Steve, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Let's begin with Sheffield Nelson's severance tax proposal. This is something that he had been trying to get on the ballot for the better part of the last 6 to 8 months. There was an army of business interests that were going to line up against this thing. Do you think it even had a snowball's chance to begin with?
Not much. To get on the ballot, you have to have a bunch of signatures, and to have a bunch of signatures, you have to have an army. And who is the army that is going to line up against the natural gas industry right now? It's hard to find people, so he had to hire some outfit to do it for him, and they didn't do a very good and possibly didn't do a legal job of collecting those signatures.
Yeah, a lot of invalid signatures that were turned in on that behalf, and I think that was what's discouraged him, wouldn't you say, in terms of trying to meet the 30-day extension that he got?
He basically gave it up.
Let's talk, too, about medical marijuana. We polled this issue earlier, back in July, found that the electorate is pretty evenly split on this. 47% support medical marijuana in Arkansas, 46% oppose medical marijuana. Before we get to some of the political alignment with that, did those numbers surprise you?
A little. But this doesn't line up along the usual pro-drug, anti-drug, it's pro-drug, but along the usual lines, because it's going to be harder for the group that's against this, those that are against this, to kind of paint it as something that's against the war on drugs, because there's a compassion into this, and so it's going to be a difficult case for them to make.
Now, the group that is supporting this is called Arkansans for Compassionate Care, and they're obviously, like you say, they're going to be supporting this more compassion-oriented people that have medical conditions that need this type of pain relief that they claim medical marijuana provides for them. Who opposes this?
Church groups and law enforcement. And they will have to counter the photo of a person who has cancer saying, "This is what helped me," with the argument that this is a Trojan horse to bring in more legalized marijuana. They will say that medical marijuana has never been proven to be a successful way to help people treat or fight cancer or other diseases. It will be a difficult task for both sides. It's, anytime it's 50-50 going into, you just don't know who's going to win.
Yeah, and it's a pretty small undecided group too, which I found kind of surprising as well, that only like 7% of those that we polled actually don't have an opinion on this. Do you think that that's maybe because there's been a pretty big national discussion about this and other states have adopted this? Why do you think that there might be so much decision already made on this?
Because we've already decided on everything. Polls are showing that there's like a 3% undecided rate on the presidential election. The electorate, more than ever in its history, has made up its mind on virtually everything, and this is months before the election. I think that the combination of the internet, 24-hour news shows, we basically, if you are an interested voter, you know where you stand on a whole lot of issues, and I think medical marijuana is one of them.
And that's good for people like us in the news business, is it not? Yeah. All right, let's talk about casinos. This has been one of the more convoluted things that we've seen over this course of the last couple of weeks. Nancy Todd, professional poker player, has brought her potential constitutional amendment in here. She's headed to the Supreme Court to get her ballot title ruled sufficient. Maybe we explain a little bit of what the ballot title is, and then how it's the short description of what the proposal actually does, and why that has been such a kind of complicated issue for her.
Well, it wouldn't be an election season in Arkansas if we didn't have an out-of-state interest trying to pass an unregulated casino monopoly that's going to end up going to the Supreme Court. I mean, it happens almost every single election season. She wants to have a constitutional monopoly to have casinos in 4 counties. That's a problem first of all, because casinos are now illegal in Arkansas, supposedly. That's a problem for Oaklawn and Southland, which have casinos, even though they don't call them that. I've been in the one once at Oaklawn. It's a casino. Right now they're hosting the Arkansas Poker Players Championship. Southland calls itself Southland Gaming and Racing, gaming first. So we have casinos in Arkansas, and they're concerned rightly that if this passes, their casinos may be constitutionally gone.
Right. And
if that happens, we can say goodbye to Southland. Southland can't compete with that. Oaklawn, who knows? I mean, it's a long, storied history, but if this passes, then Southland is a big dirt track.
If she is successful in addressing her concerns, I would suggest that one of the things that may happen right now, she's being challenged just on the ballot title not being sufficient to explain to voters that it could do away with Oaklawn and Southland's electronic games of skill that they host in their casinos. If she's successful in getting that obstacle cleared, then she might face from the opposition group that's opposed to her the fact that she collected these 130,000 signatures using the old ballot title. That's complicated for her as well, is it not?
How could it not be? They collected the signatures based on this is what the ballot issue is. Then she's going to change it after the signatures are already turned in. I don't see how it works, but we'll wait and see.
Well, we have polled this as well. We found only 28% of Arkansans support this proposal. 66% are opposed to it. There's another casino proposal that could also make it to the ballot. It's undergoing a legal challenge as well right now. Right now, I think it actually is qualified to be on the actual ballots that'll get printed, but they still have to work some stuff out. It's Michael Wasserman, Texas Businessman's casino proposal. What happens if they get on the ballot and they both pass? What happens?
Well, I think it's dead, because while it did technically have enough signatures, the Secretary of State has not certified those signatures, and it barely had enough. So we have to wait and see. If it does get on the ballot, then the one that gets if they both won, the one that gets the most votes wins.
And those are both long shots to
Right.
do that. So, well, that would be interesting because it would just be all that work that they both put in. One of them would have it off or not. It would be kind of interesting. Let's switch to a couple other things happening in politics this week here in Arkansas. Mitt Romney, the presumptive GOP nominee, is going to earn the nomination in Tampa this next week. Holds a fundraiser in Little Rock, raises a little more than $2 million, an extraordinary amount of money. Is this enthusiasm for Romney? Is this enthusiasm for Republicanism in Arkansas?
I think that it is mostly enthusiasm for the anti-Obama candidate. Secondly, enthusiasm for Republicanism. This is going to be another big year for Republicans, but I actually have met very, very few people who are just enamored with Mitt Romney. He's our guy. I think this is more a statement about Obama.
All right. Let's, with a little bit of time we have left, we've got the state legislature in our eyesights here. It's obviously going to be the political story to me in Arkansas this year is who controls the state House of Representatives, who controls the state Senate. At this juncture, how would you predict it turns out? We got about 30 seconds.
I think the Republicans are going to win both houses. You look at the Senate right now, there's 14 races where the Republicans are either unopposed or it's an incumbent. There's 14 that the Democrats are either unopposed or it's the incumbent. That leaves 7 races, 4-3. Whoever wins the most wins the Senate.
All right. He is Steve Bronner with Stevens Media and a regular contributor to Talk Business. Appreciate you being here, Steve.
Thanks.